What's up, Vol fans? What's up, SEC fans? Catfish here. We're bringing it to you live from the Volunteer Roadshow Studios in the Big D, Dallas, Texas. This is my second video this week. I kind of let y'all down last week. I had a son get married and a death in the family, and I appreciate those that reached out to me asking me if I was doing all right. Because everybody knows Catfish is doing great, and we've got a special guest. I've told everybody pretty much since halfway through the season, this past football season, I wanted to start turning this channel over to the fans and other YouTubers. And I started having Pigskin Pete, Couch Coach, Law Tide, several other YouTubers out there on the show. And whenever I see a new YouTuber, I'd like to give them some recognition and let them be a part of the Volunteer Roadshow. And that's what we've got on the show today. I found a new Vol channel called Honest Abe, and he started doing some videos on all kinds of things. So I reached out to him and thought it'd be a good thing to invite him on the Volunteer Roadshow. So everybody, I'd like to introduce to you the newest member of the Volunteer Roadshow, Honest Abe. How you doing, Honest Abe?
I'm doing well, Catfish, and I appreciate you having me on today.
Well, tell everybody watching the Volunteer Roadshow, we've got a lot of people that watch us. Tell us about your channel, how you got into it, what possessed you to even make a channel, and what your plans are for this upcoming year.
The way I got started was about 4 months ago or so, just hanging out with my kids, and they had mentioned, "Oh, hey, Dad, I think we were playing Minecraft," and they're like, "Oh, you should make a YouTube channel." Started the year, New Year's resolution, kicking it off. We're going to do a YouTube channel called Honest Abe because I used to dress up a lot as Abraham Lincoln, and I still do sometimes for the channel and doing a lot of different things with that. And some people were like, "Oh, yeah, you look good as Abraham Lincoln." So that's kind of where the whole Honest Abe came into play. And on my channel, we talk a lot of sports. We're going to be talking about a lot of football here, especially heading into spring practice and into the fall with games. Of course, right now, basketball, NCAA. We're heading into March Madness here in about a week, and it's going to be big. All sorts of sports. I love hockey. I'm a big hockey fan. Love San Jose Sharks and the Nashville Predators, so I cover a lot of that stuff. And then, of course, I do my gamings. We're going to do some Minecraft videos and, maybe some other gaming videos on there. But, my kids really like watching the Minecraft videos. So that's basically why I started my YouTube channel, was so they could watch me do Minecraft.
Well, I tell you what, gaming has really taken off. I remember my first video game was back in the 70s, and it was a Radio Shack Pong. And it was this, basically you had this knob that you turned and you hit this ball back and forth, kind of like tennis. But they sure have come a long way. And, man, they're so realistic. Well, I'm glad you're on the show. And I want everybody out there listening to this, watching this video, to go sub up Honest Abe. Let's show everybody what the Volunteer Roadshow Army can do and get him a lot of subs out there. He needs some subscribers to get started. And I'm going to put his link to his channel in the description of this video. And there's also a couple of other guys out there I'd like to give a shout out to. Volmania, a lot of you guys know him. I'm going to put a link to his channel on here. And Small Vol, everybody remembers the video I did, Do It for Garrett. He kind of got put into YouTube jail here recently and had to start a new channel. And some of y'all been asking whatever happened to Small Vol. So I'm going to put a link to his new channel on here, and I appreciate everybody tuning in so far and helping me out. I just started this year, and it's done way better than I thought, and I've got a lot of regulars on here. But I'd like to get into chopping up some sports, and let me ask you a question, Honest Abe. We had a lot of turmoil this last year, new coach. The coaching search was a fiasco, and we finally got Jeremy Pruit in here. What is your feeling about Jeremy Pruit, and how do you think he did his first recruiting class?
Oh, man, I'm excited, and you are right. I did a video just called the Tennessee Football Debacle with the coaching search, and my goodness, it was it was a roller coaster ride for sure. But I'm so excited. We got Jeremy Pruit in here. I remember when I was growing up here in East Tennessee, my dad actually took me to one of the orange and white games one year back when Big Al Wilson was playing defense, and oh my gosh, I mean I was just a teenager at the time, and that man made me look small, and I'm a pretty tall guy, and I just remember the days when Tennessee defense was the, I mean, it was the name brand of the SEC. If you were going to try to beat Tennessee, you had to beat the defense, and I am so looking forward to what Jeremy Pruitt's going to do with our defense. I would say that with this recruiting class, I would give him a solid B right now. First year coming in, basically, I mean, a couple of weeks before signing day, and man, what a class he pulled out. I mean, I would give him a solid B, and I look forward to his future recruiting classes because man, he's going to bring in the guys and I mean, just going over this Alontae Taylor, this wide receiver out of Manchester, man, this kid can ball, and I cannot wait to see what he can do. Of course, JT Shrout's coming in as quarterback. I mean, that's definitely a good pickup. I mean, he beefed up our defense. Definitely something that we really, really needed. You got Greg Emerson. He's a 4-star out of Jackson, Tennessee. We got Ollie Lane. He's going to be an offensive guard from Gibbs High School, right in the Knoxville area. He's coming. Jacob Warren, tight end from Farragut High School, my alma mater. I went to Farragut High School in Knoxville. He's going to be coming on to help out that offense. But, I mean, you just look across the board, he just really beefed up with, I mean, 3-4 stars coming in just a couple of weeks, making sure that he got those guys in this state to commit to Tennessee. And so I'm really proud of what he did here with this recruiting class here for 2018.
Yeah, I'd give him a solid B, maybe even an A-, considering the circumstances. If you factor in the circumstances and the length of time and how long he had to do, and to go along with that, he was still coaching Alabama and having to do all that. I may even give him an A for the effort that he put into our recruiting class. And speaking of Farragut, that all my family graduated from Farragut. My dad graduated in, I think it was 1962 from Farragut High School, back when it was not even where it's at now. It was up the street towards Concord. But anyway, I've got an affinity for people in Farragut. All the family members in my family, most of them went to Farragut. The Farragut Admirals. Well, anyway, let me ask you another question. I broke the news to Big Vol Daddy. I was out in Texas last week and told him about Gillespie. I heard about it, and he didn't know anything about it. But what are you thinking about this Gillespie situation? It didn't take him long, a day or two. I don't know the story behind it. Maybe you might know a little bit more about why he got fired, or if it was mutual. I don't think it was mutual from some of the tea leaves I've been reading. So, and Chris Weinke coming in, he was offered the quarterback coach position, and now he's going to be running backs coach. What's your thoughts on that situation?
Well, I was very happy that Gillespie decided to stay, and Jeremy Pruitt was going to keep him on staff. I thought that was a great keep for Tennessee. I mean, he's done a great job. I mean, you look at Alvin Kamara and just what I know Tennessee didn't use him very well in his last season, but you look what he did at New Orleans this year. As a running back, rookie of the year. I mean, come on, that's amazing. And then you just look at all the running backs that have come through Tennessee in the past couple of years that he has been there. I'm here. I hear in Knoxville that it was mutual. That's what the papers and everybody are reporting. It was a mutual decision, but you got to know that there was something there. There was something happening behind the scenes that we as fans are not going to be made aware of, and it's gonna come out eventually. It'll get out. It always does. But Gillespie decided to leave. They parted ways, and I heard through some of the guys that I talked to that he just missed Butch Jones too much. And so he was going to go join the staff at Catholic High School, which is where Butch Jones is going to volunteer for this next football season. I don't know, but I'm definitely looking forward to Chris Weinke coming in here in the springtime.
Yeah, at first I was a little upset. It was just more crap that hit our program. It just looked bad. The optics were bad, but now that I see more of what happened and who we got, I actually think it was a trade up, because I think Weinke brings a championship mind. He's been around the NFL. He's been around championship teams. And so I think it was a trade up for us. And before we go on into what we're going to talk about next, I've been missing and forgetting to do the birthdays announcement. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take time to do that right now. So we got a happy birthday wish to Jason in Tupelo, Mississippi. He's a Gator fan, and I'd like to wish him a happy birthday. I think it's a belated birthday because February is almost over. And Willie from Dayton, Tennessee, Willie R. from Dayton, Tennessee, I'd like to wish you a happy birthday. And I understand you're a Tennessee fan. And here's an anniversary. I haven't done an anniversary yet, and it's Nick and Brenda, their 15th anniversary. Now, they didn't say where they were from or who their favorite team is, but I'd like to wish them a happy anniversary. So anybody else that wants me to wish them a happy birthday or an anniversary on the video, email the show at volunteerroadshow@gmail.com. And don't forget to put your YouTube screen name in there so we know who you are and where you're from and who your team is, because we've got a lot of Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Carolina fans that watch the show. So I'd like to give everybody a shout out. Well, Abe, is there anything you'd like to talk about? Any sports that you'd like to talk about at this time? We've got a lot going on still, but I just wanted to see what you had on your mind you wanted to chop up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. How about those Tennessee basketball guys? They're tearing it up this year. And I've mentioned this, many, many times just on my show, just doing sports updates and stuff like that. But people forget that the Tennessee Volunteer men's basketball team was picked to finish 13th in the SEC this year. They are currently number 2 with a chance to be number 1 in the SEC, depending how Auburn finishes up and how we do. That is crazy. So let's talk about those Tennessee Volunteers.
Well, I think it's the first time ever that we have a shot at getting a double bye in the SEC tournament. And I told Big Ball Daddy before the basketball season even started, he was kind of down on my Vols, and he's one of the biggest Vol fans out there. He's a legend. But he didn't have high hopes, and I said, I think they're going to do pretty good. And I understand where he's coming from. He's like, man, we've been disappointed so much. We've been start out the gate really strong, and then we peter out towards the end of the season. But we've played some good ball, and he brought up on my podcast yesterday about how Rick Barnes has us playing like a real team. There's not a lot of superstars on our team, and I think he's done a really good job at managing the talent that we have. And now is when you're going to show what you're made of as a coach, because we still have 3 games left in the season. We've got the tournament coming up, the NCAA tournament coming up, and you got to balance winning ball games with how many minutes you're going to put on your big horses, because we still got a lot of basketball to play. And I'd sure hate to, see us put everything out on the line and then it really hurt us later in the season. So I heard him talk about that the other day on one of his press conferences, that it's just a lot of decisions to make. But you're right. We were picked next to last in the SEC before the season, and we're sitting at second place. I really don't see Auburn slipping up at all. They beat a really good Alabama team the other night. I just don't see them slowing up. So I really think it's a battle for third, fourth, and fifth for everybody else, because I think Auburn's locked up the number 1 seed and we've locked up the number 2 seed. But there's still a lot could happen. We've got 2 road games coming up, Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and then final out at home at Georgia. What do you think about this Ole Miss game coming up? Do you have any scouting reports on Ole Miss and what to expect and what you think we're going to do?
Well, Coach Rick Barnes, he put out a challenge to Grant Williams this past week, if you guys saw that. And, if you guys watched the Florida game yesterday, or the other day, it was an awful game. It was a terrible game. And both teams were sloppy. And as you were saying, it's a long season. And I think you really saw that with the Florida game the other night. And, you had both teams, they were shooting 30% in the first half. And Florida ended at 31% shooting for the game. Just turnovers, there was no real flow to the game. And you saw that. But you saw in that last 9 minutes of the second half, Tennessee started running their offense once Grant Williams got back in there. He picked up a quick foul, like 29 seconds into the second half, and he sat until the 9-minute mark of the second half. And when he got back in there, you saw him and Admiral Schofield just take over the game. And our 2 big men, they just dominate. And I tell you what, Catfish, Grant Williams has an argument for SEC Player of the Year, because when he is not in the ball game, Tennessee struggles. And you saw that the other night against Florida. I think you're going to see Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield be fed the ball, feed each other the ball again against Ole Miss coming up this weekend. And if they take over the game, we're going to run away with this one without a doubt. If we play Tennessee basketball, we're gonna run away with this, and Ole Miss is not going to have a chance.
I agree with you. I've said on my show several times, we're going to go as far as Grant Williams takes us. He's the horse we're going to ride deep into the tournament. And one thing I have to say is the times that he hasn't showed up, we've actually had some other players step up. In that 6-game stretch where we were playing lights out basketball, there was a couple of games that Grant Williams didn't play too well, and we had Turner and Bone and some of those other guys really step up. And I think the player that we really need to step up and play the best basketball of his career, and that's Admiral Schofield. Sometimes he can disappear on us. And I think we need to make sure that, hey, from here on out to the rest of the season, you need to show up. So anyway, I really appreciate you coming on my show. I've told everybody until September comes, we're officially a basketball school. So everybody check out Honest Abe. And don't forget to root our Vols on tomorrow and down in Mississippi. We're playing Ole Miss. I don't even know what time the game is, but I'm sure I'll be watching it. So thanks for tuning in. Go Vols. We're going to the Final Four. I promise you that.